1.
Well, that's neat. Like, I don't think I've seen that feature before. Um, if you look at the window here, you can actually buy the game over Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember something about them adding that.
Yeah. It's just I knew there was a thing. It's just this is the first game I've seen where we've got it inputted and you can buy it.
At some point, if we get partnership, or then we can get a portion of that.
Right.
But that's
We
down
need.
the line.
Yeah. Is that partnership or affiliates? Because those aren't the same thing.
I know. I think it's partnership, but it could be affiliate too.
I mean, right now
we have a review to do.
Yes. Yeah. So the game we're reviewing this time is Aztez. And no, we didn't mispronounce that. It's Aztez with Z's. Once again, I think that came up in the interview we did, but it's been a while. It's been a bit of time since we did that.
Basically, it was they wanted to do Aztec, but they made it Aztez because poor literacy is copyrightable.
Right. Yeah. So as the name would entail, this is a game about the Aztec Empire. Not a lot of games feature that setting. I'll be honest. Which is a shame because it's a very fascinating mesh of civilizations. Don't really have time to go in here, but like the Aztec people didn't actually exist. That was more the overall nation, with the dominant tribe being the Mexica people.
The Aztec Empire as such started a lot later and did not last that long compared to the impression that a lot of people probably have.
Right.
That said, there are plenty of other Mesoamerican civilizations.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's actually kind of important to actual both pre-Columbian and post-Columbian historical studies, because like a big reason why the conquistadors won was because they had allies, like a lot of allies against the Mexica. Like it doesn't come too much into play here, which is kind of surprising because this game is a very unusual combination, as you can see on the screen here. It's a combination of Final Fight, let's say, or Castle Crashers, something like that, and Civilization.
Yeah, 2D brawler.
Yeah, 2D brawler, and a very, very light edition of a grand strategy game, like
turn-based nation strategy type stuff.
Maybe with a little bit of Mortal Kombat thrown in there at the end.
Yeah, though a lot of, mostly in the blood, I guess, a lot of brawlers have primitive fighting game mechanics.
Yeah, and you'll note, like, one of the most distinct things outside of the culture, the setting, is the graphics. So, reading up on the reviews, a lot of people missed the homage here, which obviously tells me how many people played Mad World.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this game is a total love letter to Mad World. Mm-hmm. For those who haven't played Mad World, first of all, go play it. Like, granted, it's a bit hard because, well, Mad World was one of those games, was one of those mature gamers games for the Nintendo Wii, which kind of really explains why not a lot of people played it. Now, Anyway, it was a it was an over-the-top brawler, spectacle fighter made by Platinum Games. You may have heard of them, and the big conceit was the whole game was in black and white, except for red.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the color.
And black, white, and red are the three most basic colors.
Right, and that's the exact same color palette you get here. You know, and this is an old trick, like literally about a century old or some such. Because like this goes back to before films had real color. You know, back when everything was black and white, color could still be achieved by painting in the frames themselves.
Right.
And silent films would do that when they wanted to emphasize something. And it's the same thing here.
It's very painstaking to paint in every frame of a movie, but yes.
Yeah. Well, that just shows when they wanted to emphasize something, they really wanted to emphasize something, given the painstaking nature. It's not quite so painstaking here, but the idea is the same. They really want the high contrast between the arts, the graphics, the color, between everything else, and the blood. Because tying it back into real history, blood sacrifices were a really important part of Aztec culture, really Mesoamerican culture in general, and you can see it in some of the designs of real Aztec weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're really weird if you know about them, because Mesoamerican weapons aren't designed to kill people,
or at least not just. No. They're designed to be a little bit more painful and bloody than.
They're designed to wound and disable people. Rather than outright kill, because big part of the culture here is sacrificing your enemy's blood to your god for good fortunes. And yeah, that's what's going on here. You look at you can see that kind of design in the sword and such.
Mm-hmm.
The quote unquote sword.
Yeah.
They call it a sword, but the Aztec and other Mesoamerican version of a sword is basically a club or cricket bat style thing with obsidian blades in the edge.
Yeah, obsidian was a very important material to the Mexicas, Aztecs, what have you.
Well, they didn't have tons of metal to use for that.
Well, that's kind of an important distinction, because that's another reason why they got stomped by the conquistadors.
Yeah.
They had metal weapons, they had guns, and that also plays in the game, because once the fucking conquistadors show up, the game takes a whole new dimension of difficulty, because they have guns, they have horses, they have a really weird horse attack where it's like something out of JoJo's or something. Like, they can just summon a horse and it'll hit you. Yeah, it's kind of the work of an enemy stand here.
Yeah, horses are also a Eurasian native species.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing they had in the Americas was llamas, and they are, shall we say, less cooperative.
Yeah, llamas are the only natively domesticated animal here, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in this game. The combat system. As you can see, it is a 2D brawler, and it's, well, I'm not gonna lie, it's got the some of the typical disadvantages of that style of gameplay. That is to say, you're gonna have a lot of, where is my character?
Yeah, because you are the darker black character.
Yes.
Everyone else is
It
black.
is alleviated. Yeah, it is alleviated somewhat by the fact that you are dark black and your adversaries are gray, But when you got like 6 or 8 people going on in some of the later stages, you will get lost.
Especially when they're almost all very similar designs.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, and you can also get like unlockable costumes that make you look like your opponents,
which can have downsides of, oops, I forgot that wasn't me.
Right. Now, as far as the combat system itself, it's actually fairly robust. I mean, you got the basic stuff here, but you've also got dashing attacks. You can go up in the air. There are grab attacks, but shockingly, there's not really a throwing attack. I mean, you can shove adversaries back, but it's not the same thing as an actual throw.
Yeah, the main thing you do when you've grabbed someone is you can beat on them a little, and then if they were already reeling, you can grab them and then do a special attack to sacrifice them, which gives you a lot of blood, which is important because blood is what you use for your super move.
Yeah, called god attacks. You gather enough blood, you can call in your god to get in an extra hit. And like I believe like your standard is like the war god, but you can unlock other gods as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And grabbing is a really important aspect of the combat because that's one of only 2 ways to deal with guarding enemies. Like the other way is countering. The game has a countering parry system measured up in 3 ways. You've got yellow attacks, which are blockable. You've got orange attacks, which are the parry attacks. And you got the red attacks, which are the unblockable or unparryable. Those are the ones you have to get out of the way for.
Uh-huh.
I won't say mastering this system is key, but it will help you along the way, especially like when you deal with a lot of Jaguar enemies who have the shields. Like,
you can also use a down attack on guarding enemies to knock them down a little, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, there are ways around them, but surprisingly, the actual blocking is unbreakable. Like just with basic brawling. There are other guarding enemies where they'll glow red, and after a certain amount of hits, their block will break. Like the conquistadors do that. Now, also worth noting is the weapon selection. There are 8 in total. I only got to experience 4 of them.
Well, you can only equip 4 at a time, so.
Right, but I suppose the 4 main weapons are the sword, which is your beginning weapon, your standard all around. Jack of all trades. It's good, but not great in any particular area. You got the knife, which is for very quick attacks, and I'll be honest, I barely use the knife. I hated using the knife because it's weak as shit.
There's also a spear, which I think gives you some nifty aerial type stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna bust out the spear a lot because it's the most maneuverable of the 4 main weapons, right? That'll allow you to dash past enemies, which is kind of important if you're surrounded. And yeah, that will give you a lot more in the way of aerial maneuverability. And then there's the club. The club is your power weapon. Like, you get the club, and if you can master it, like, you will just dominate enemies because it will just like not only take a fewer amount of hits to take an adversary out, but it's also like if you do the dashing attacks, you can send opponents reeling. Yeah, the club was my favorite weapon, outside of the fact that you're not very maneuverable with it. The disadvantage of the club is it's slow. It is the trade-off there. It's slow, but it's very, very powerful. Now, I'm not sure what the other 4 weapons are because I didn't get to unlock them. Unfortunate, but unfortunately, the weapon unlocks are completely random with missions, and I just didn't get those missions.
Mm-hmm. Like before we started playing, I had the chance to unlock the club, but I failed the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is the main game here, where you impart on missions, which affect things in the Empire. Now, your job is to either like get resources, um, quell dissent, gather a new city into the Empire, what have you. And when Petty Fan is this, will show off more of the strategic elements. But this isn't the only mode. Like the mode I played the most of was the arena mode, because I'll be honest, I really didn't care about the strategy portions. It's like a nice idea, I suppose, but nah. Like it didn't seem to have all that much of an effect on things. Anyway, so like here's part of the strategy. Petty Fan has 2 items. And items can affect things on the world map. So go to the inventory.
Yeah, it takes a second. I'm there.
Yeah, I know. So we've got 3 things here. We got agents, items, and artifacts. Items are things you either get through missions, or you get through gameplay, or they're there.
Like, you get them pretty commonly as like bonus rewards for missions.
Items are things that you can use, like this tax collector thing will give you more resources. Resources are your ability to do things with the agents. Go back to the agents. I hate this lag. Yeah, see, now you've got your conjurer, your princess, like, you know, they do various things, like your conjurer will be able to give you a random item. Princess will get you a city, yeah, and so on and so forth. Like I said, they're very light strategy elements, but I suppose the big problem here is you're not really playing against anyone. Like, it's basically, and
you're playing against the world, kind of.
Yeah, kind of, but not really. Like, there's not, like, the conquistadors sort of count, but they're not like a true rival civilization. Like you would see in, well, one of the civilization games, or like outside of the conquistadors, like there's nobody else gathering territory or gathering resources, right? There's none. You're not like facing against the Mayan civilization, for example.
Yeah, aside from dissent, the thing that happens to most cities isn't that they get captured by someone else. It's just that they outright get destroyed.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna say, like, the strategy elements do give the game a flourish of uniqueness, but honestly, I thought they were just a little too light to really matter in the grand scheme of things, which is another reason. Also, the actual fights can be really harsh, because how your life system works is each warrior is its own life. Like,
and you start out with 1.
Yes, and if that Aztez dies, it's game over.
And they are not exactly generous with the missions that give you a chance to earn another Aztez.
No. Yeah, you can get either like mission, or there's an item, or I think you can get it through resources. There are ways to get 1-ups. And it's also worth noting that each Aztez is its own independent life. So it's not just lives, they're turns. If you have 4 Aztez, you can do 4 missions in a turn.
Which is useful because there are more missions in a turn than you can do normally.
Right, and one of the big things here is especially like early on, you're not going to be able to do every mission. So sometimes like two really important missions will pop up, and you got to decide which one you got to choose. Like, do you want a drought to happen, or do you want to quell dissent in this city, kind of deal? And I'm like, I was never that attached to the Empire side of things, so you know, whatever was convenient at the time, I suppose.
Hmm.
You know, if you want to bypass the strategy portion of this, there's arena mode. You know, which I played the most of because you don't have to deal with game overs in that, in the sense that if you fail, you just retry. And yeah, you know, you're gonna need that because the upper levels get really hard,
It's
especially when
also
you're
kind of early on if you're not good at guarding well or perfect guarding, or you're not good at you have a hard time choosing and you choose the wrong mission, and then because remember before early in the game, almost all the missions have loss. Your Aztez dies, and if you get that before you have another Aztez, that's just a game over.
Hmm.
yeah. And right, so the music. Um, let's see. The music is trying to think of the right terminology here. Jungle beats, maybe. You know, tribal rhythms, kind of
Yeah,
deal.
that's what they're going for.
And I definitely think they succeeded.
Hmm.
You know, it's a really unconventional stuff, like the rest of the game, and it's not, you know, it's not that memorable, but it fits the game. Though curiously, there is no OST listing on Steam. Right.
Yeah, it's a very it's a game where that kind of
Yeah.
where a lot of like drums and stuff fits the kind of action pretty well because it's all very dramatic and ceremonial, and you're fighting and then you're sacrificing the people you fight, and then you're
Yeah.
sucking up their blood and summoning gods to do big area attacks.
Yeah, and when you win, you get a very triumphant horns, and when you lose, you get this, I don't know, odd chanting um, music. I'm
Mm.
not sure exactly what that was. Um, anyway, yeah, the music is really top stuff. Uh, in fact, this game is among the best I've played all year. Now, the combat can be a bit on the frustrating side because it gets damn hard, and like I said, it's got a lot of the problems that brawlers usually have. Um, if I like, if there's something I wish there would have been, it was either a real dodge roll, like you can sort of do it when you get knocked down, but there
That's
isn't.
another perfect input is when you get knocked down, you can hop immediately back up if you jump right when you touch the ground, and also when you get up from being knocked down, you can roll forward or roll backwards basically.
Right. Like, but it's not very fluid because because it's based on very expert timing. I don't know if a real dodge roll would have made things too easy. Like, um, also crowd control. Like this game needed better crowd control moves. They do exist, but they're tied to blocking and countering, and that's not a thing you can always do.
I could barely ever do it.
I mean, even if you're good at it, like that's incumbent on the enemy.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's
But
not.
yeah, I was stuck in I did the training because there's a training mode that like helps you do the inputs, and I was stuck on the learn to do the counter thing for like 5-10 minutes.
Right. I didn't really have a problem with that. It's just, it's a very situational crowd control maneuvering. Like, once again, I'm not sure if that was done because it would have made things too easy, but You know, like I said, because this is a brawler and you are just one person, and these these opponents will dogpile on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna lead to some frustration when like you're doing something and then you just get hit by 2-3 people and their attacks at once. That happened to me a lot. Uh, and there was there wasn't a whole lot I could do about it in terms of counterattacking. Now, but otherwise than that, but outside of the frustration, this game is really fluid, really solid combat mechanics. Like, um, and I think that goes into the, the background of the developers, um, which I'm trying to remember because, I believe Ben has done combat tactics and training on a professional level. Like that's his kind of his day job kind of deal, and it flows into the actual game itself. Let's see. Twilight, did you have a chance to play this game?
I don't even have it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think we only got 3 codes for this one. Oh. It gets a bit hard to remember, what codes of how much we get, because we get a lot of them. Like, what are your impressions of the game, Petty Fan?
I like the combat.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like the strategy element almost feels tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, like I guess if I were to play the arena mode, it'd be more of the good stuff and less of the just pick missions.
Mm-hmm. Galix, what about you?
I enjoyed it. I'm not very good at it for the aforementioned reasons, I don't think, and it would probably take more time playing it to get used to figuring out what the best way to do missions to not end up with a lot of dissent all over the place. When I was playing, I was really hesitant to use agents because they get more expensive the more of them you use, and I wasn't sure what else I would need resources for, and because
I think the only thing you use resources on are agents.
okay, well, I didn't know about that. I was waiting to see mostly, and then I didn't get really a chance to play anymore. I lost a mission fairly early on. I mean, it was only like the 10th thing maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but like most of the map was red by that point. So,
And you only
'cause
have
I
like
was
one Aztez, I'm guessing.
right, yep. And I didn't get I got one free. One of the items I got was one of the items that functions the same as a agent, but it doesn't cost anything. So I was hoping to get more of those, but it didn't really work.
Right. Now in terms
I enjoyed it. I think that the while they were a little bit repetitive, I do think the strategy kind of helps pin the otherwise sort of similar things together. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, in terms of playtime, so this is a bit of an interesting one because, honestly, like an individual session, probably isn't going to last very long. This is the kind of game like, you'd probably mostly play in short bursts, given the repetitive nature of things. Then again, the combat can be enticing enough where you end up losing a couple hours on it.
I think the game does have an end, but I'm not sure how long that is.
Yeah, it does have an end, but I'm not sure exactly what it is because, well, I still haven't gotten good enough to really deal with the conquistadors yet. No.
And then I believe a good chunk of the stuff is semi-randomly generated.
It can be, unless you're doing arena mode, then it's all prefabbed encounters.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what encounters you get in what order are somewhat randomized within a time. Like, obviously, once the conquistadors show up, stuff starts being involving them. They don't before, but like,
Well, yeah.
you're not always going to get the exact same fight to unlock the spear at the exact same point.
Right. Well, yeah. Like once the conquistadors show up, you kind of have to deal with them because one of the ways you can get a game over is them conquering your capital city.
Right, which is Tenochtitlan, which is Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
I probably mispronounced that, but I have no excuse.
Still up. Right. Price. So this game is going to run you normally $19.99, $20. Right now it's on sale for $17.99. Like, that's a bit. This is a bit of a hard one to really gauge.
If you just like the combat itself, then not really. But if you're also interested in the strategy element and can get more of it out of it than we did, then it's worth it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're just going for the brawling component, $10 at most. Like, but if you're actually invested in the strategy, then yeah, $20 is reasonable enough. Like, but I do recommend this game. Like, it's one of the better games I've played this year, and keep in mind how many games we play in a year. That's actually kind of a tall order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this is one of those games that, kind of like with God Eater, if we're waiting for Mac or something, I'd probably boot this up in a post stream.
And that gets me into platforms. So the game is available right now on the PC. Let me check if it's out on consoles yet. I don't think it is.
Yeah, but I believe the dev said, like, I know PS4 is coming. I don't remember if Xbox One is coming.
I know I think it's PS4, Xbox One, and it was originally slated to come to the Wii U, but they're moving on to the Nintendo Switch. And I'll be honest, if there's a console version that you might want to consider picking up, it's the Switch version, provided it's got the proper frame rate and all that stuff. I'm not exactly sure how intensive this game is going to be on the Nintendo Switch.
It doesn't look that intensive.
No, but appearances can be deceiving.
Well, I know.
Always,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like this doesn't look like the kind of game that should be hard to run, but I couldn't say.
It'll depend how well they optimize for the difference in specs, if nothing else.
Yeah. 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 I'm seeing that the console releases are later on in the year, so it is on PC right now, and I don't think they've started on like the Nintendo Switch version.
But yeah, this would be a nice game to have semi-portable.
Yeah, it's like this is the the game chunks are short enough where it worked really well in portable mode.
Because you could just do a few missions and then stop.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this game could work on a Vita. Yeah, it is also coming to the PlayStation Vita as well. Not sure if they're gonna have to compromise anything for that, but yeah. This is a game that would definitely work well in the portable scene.
Mm-hmm.
But it also works.
I doubt it would work on a 3DS just because power. I don't even think the new 3DS could handle it.
No, I don't see that.
Not without a major graphical and performance downside.
Mm-hmm.
Or like possibly cutting out the strategy mode altogether.
Yeah. That being said, it's a worthwhile enough purchase on the PC. On a console, but I think this will really excel in the portable space.
Mm-hmm.
It's just no idea when that's happening. like the Switch port could end up being happening next year. So just keep that in mind. But overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10. You know, it's just our our full recommendations do take price into the equation, and how much.
Right. Yeah, it's a better, probably a better recommendation than that if you can get it on sale,
Yeah.
or if you're really into the strategy.
Yeah. I mean, if you're into the brawling set, honestly, I'd recommend something like Zombie Vikings over this, simply because that game has more meat in its brawling sections than this. Like, it has a better combat issue, but everything is just so short.
Yeah, this game feels like it doesn't have there's a lot of options, but it doesn't really require you to use a lot of them. So it depends on how you feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, anything else that we want to say about Aztez here?
It's a game. Go play it.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that'll about do it for the Fragments of Silicon reviews for the week. And up ahead, we've got a fairly full week on August 8th. That's the Tuesday morning show. We've got Yassine Salmi of Salmi Games returning. If you recall, he was the developer of that Ellipsis game.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about his VR project that I think we touched upon a little bit in our last interview, but he's much more ready to talk about it now.
Yeah, I think he mostly mentioned that it existed and they couldn't talk much about it yet.
Yeah. So it's one of those, the time has come. Let's
I need
see.
a gong whenever we do that.
I'm like, anyway, August 9th, we are supposed to have Jason Kim of Cardboard Utopia. They're the developers of the Square Enix Collective Strategy RPG Children of the Zodiacs, however you pronounce that. Having a problem getting them to confirm things. So this could end up being a double topic week. Just putting it out there in the here and now. It's like the update on that will either come Tuesday or on the website. If I have to update that, the MSP website on Wednesday, then we're going with a double topic. So more on that in the next few days.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There is no MSP this week. We were mistaken about that. About the start time. That's actually happening next week.
Yeah.
And finally, next Sunday we have our first triple review week, and there is a reason for that, and that has to do with the second game we have slated, Spiral Splatter. It's a mobile port. It's a game that I put about an hour of time in and saw about all I needed to see. It's kind of I hesitate to use the word insubstantial game. It's a small game. It's a very small game. We've had games like this before, like Orbox C comes to mind, for example. And I figure it's probably going to take us about 10, maybe 15 minutes at most to talk about this game. And, so it it stands to reason we have other games to do, but it's not, it's not big enough to take up a full review slot, so to speak. So, we'll be able to take that out pretty quickly on Sunday. At least I'm hoping. Never tried this before, so a bit of an experiment. Anyway,
And the other ones are?
the full schedule is first up we have the cowboy themed RPG West of Loathing from the developers of the game Kingdom of Loathing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got Spiral Splatter, which is if you've ever played the PlayStation 1 the irritating stick, like, or like it's a game that not only exists in digital form but is an actual thing in the real world. Like there's even a game show, Japanese game show about it. It's, you know, there's a metal set of there's a metal pathway, and you move a stick or an object that represents that through the pathways. And
Oh, that thing.
It's basically what Operation is based off of.
yeah,
No, the difference is that this is about moving a thing, not just poking in and pulling out.
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. And finally, we have Yotun Valhalla Edition, which is a Zelda-like that got released actually a couple years ago, but saw a significant upgrade with the Valhalla Edition not too long ago. This actually wasn't provided by a publisher or a developer. This was free on Steam not too long ago. Not everyone got the message in time, so not everyone got it. So.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So that's the week ahead. Like, and until Tuesday, I wish you good gaming.